Hello, and welcome to this program, Give Back to the Society, powered by the Nigerian Association for Adults of Canada. Powered by this association, today with me is the national president of this association, in person of Mr. Shola Agboola. You are welcome to today's program, sir.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be on the program.
Thank you very much. When we are talking about NAYA, what does it stand for, and what's the aim and objective of this association, sir?
NAYA stands for Nigerian Association for Young Adults of Canada, and this organization has been in existence for quite a long time, perhaps going to about 2 decades now, ever before I even got to Canada. So the whole idea of forming this organization is the realization that most of us who immigrated to Canada as young people and getting over there, getting married, having children, we realized that there must be a rallying point where we are able to, give back to their country some of the privileges and advantage and opportunities that we were able to acquire in Canada. And that's why this organization was formed in the first place. And the whole concept of the name, how the name was coined as Young Adult, is it forms a bridge between the new millennium kids that we're having in Canada and those of us that actually came to Canada. Then there's an opportunity for us to mingle together so that we can pretty much teach them some of the values of the Nigerian culture, tradition, and opportunity to give back home.
Thank you very much, sir. Would you like to tell us when you established this organization?
The organization was established even way before I got to Canada. That must have been in 2000 or 2000. That was the year, about 3 years before I got to Canada. And I've been in Canada now for about 17 years. And it's been, initially, it was actually an organization that was just catering for our socio-cultural interactions. We do a lot of independence party, we do soccer, we teach our children how to dance, either in Igbo, Yoruba, or Hausa. But when I became the president, I decided to, with like minds, to have a very good conversation with some of the national executive of the organization that perhaps we need to begin to have a presence in Nigeria in order to be able to give back home.
Thank you very much, sir. So when we critically look at this organization, it seems that all what you do is to give back to your community. And what's informed this passion of you giving back to your home country?
For every Nigerian, I always find out that most of the people in diaspora, once you leave the shore of this country, you become relatively very passionate about Nigeria because you see what good lives look like when you travel outside of here. And sometimes even within yourself, you begin to think, wow, I wish Nigeria is like this. So for most of us, the whole motivation for all what we do is we have to do something. We have to fill the vacuum because we understand government cannot do it all alone. And when the society we live in, we see what ordinary citizens, the role they play in that society. And we began to look at it and say, wait a minute, instead of us criticizing our leaders or just getting frustrated about people, let's do something about it. And that was how the whole idea of NAYA beginning to show their presence in Nigeria at the national level, going to every part of Nigeria, every region. And that's pretty much where the motivation for us to really show our presence in Nigeria comes in.
So are you saying that Nigeria is far behind when we compare it to other countries all over the world?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the index and the statistics are there. We're being rated as one of the poorest countries in the world. For many years, the World Bank, UNESCO, and all those other international statistics put Nigeria as being Nigerian live under $1 per day. So that shows there's a lot to be done. And instead of just folding our hands and, expecting government to do it all, that was how we do the programs that we do. And part of that program is why I'm in the country right now, while I'm in Nigeria.
So you've been in this country for how long, sir?
I've been around now for about 2.5 weeks.
So what are the things that you have done to achieve your aim in coming down to Nigeria? Where have you been to in impacting positively to the less privileged and the marginalized society in the country?
Thank you very much. That's probably our main objective, because we have quite a lot of people working with us. Here in Nigeria, we have representative here in Nigeria who goes all around, try to understand the needs of the people. Since when I came, we were in a town called Ilarogun on the 22nd of January. And what we went there to do was to give free donation of clothing. So we brought thousands of clothing to that locality, and I went alongside with a good friend of mine who's also an associate of NAYA, who resides in UK, Dr. Ayokoka, who are with the Orogun of Ila, where we donated over 20,000 worth of clothing free of charge to the locality there.
So, thank you very much, sir. You donated clothing materials to this community. I hope and I think before this could be done, there must be a kind of research and a kind of liaison with the community leaders of that particular society. Sir, is that what they really requested for, or you're just doing it for them? Please, can you shed more light on this?
Yeah, thank you very much. Like I said, our organization work almost like a mini government on its own. We have quite a array of people. Our director of programs, project coordinator, is also currently in the country in the person of Dr. Uche Uwanko. He comes to Nigeria quite often. We have a lot of our members who are residents in Nigeria here, who does the research of any community, the kind of needs and stuff like that, and we match those needs to what available resources that we have. So Dr. Jare Owusheni is one of our Nigerian representatives here. We have Mr. Abbas Bogumbe. And the clothing was actually in charge of the vice president of the organization, Otumba Wale Adepoju. Is the one that is shadowed with the responsibility of organizing all these things, because we realize that one of the basic needs of life, the necessity of life, is clothing. So once you have shelter, you have food and clothing, pretty much you are secure to now be able to think for yourself and follow your passion in life. So part of the report that have been submitted by our representative in Nigeria is that people are living in abject poverty. And if this is one way we can help, perhaps is the right thing to do. And that was why we brought the clothing there. Immediately we finished from there. The next day we were in Obaile, also in Osun State, where we went to donate a couple of thousands of clothing as well. We have planned to go to Isenyi in Oyo State to do the same. And so when we got to Ila, the crowd, because we've done a program in Ila about a year ago, where we brought the young girls hygiene kits, because we believe in all these rural areas where people are so poor, young girls, reaching the age of poverty, who are getting to the time of doing their menstrual cycle and stuff like that, they were not properly educated as to how to, do the hygiene process of the whole cycle and stuff like that. So we partner with an organization called Days for Girls in Canada, and they supply us with all these hygiene kits, which is called the reusable sanitary pad. So it was so locally packed in Canada. We brought thousands and thousands of those, and we did it in Laro, going about a year ago, before we came around again and do the clothing.
I would like to ask whether you have something doing on health program and education. Do you have something like that in your package in NAYA Association?
Absolutely. In every way we think we can help, we've always tried to do that. In terms of the health care, I will, without exaggerating, NAYA will have invested billions upon billions of naira into this country, in the last few years. Precisely from 2013, we have taken hospital equipment worth thousands, millions of dollars to different parts of Nigeria. We've been to Imo State, donating medical equipment. We've been to Bayelsa. We've been to Niger Delta. We've taken it to Osun State. We were recently, about a year ago, partnered with Olusegun Obasanjo Foundation. We did in Ogun State as well. We partnered with traditional rulers in Osun State, the Oluwolo of Iwo, where we brought hospital equipment close to ₦1 billion. So all these were part of the activities that we do in the healthcare sector. Last week Sunday we were in Umuahia, where we donated about 574 million naira worth of hospital equipment free of charge to a local hospital there. We really appreciate the reception given to us while we're there. The governor of the state in Abia State, the presidency sent their representative to. It was quite very encouraging to do this. And in the area of education, we've done tremendously well as well. And we've covered quite a lot of different areas in Nigeria. We were in Abuja, we were in Bayelsa, Niger Delta, Imo, Kebbi State, all the northern region. We've donated free laptop computers, projectors, books, thousands of books and stuff like that. Last year, we donated over 100 laptops in Osun State, free of charge. So we've been doing, we've covered the area of healthcare, education, and other humanitarian areas as well.
Thank you very much, sir. For a couple of minutes ago, we've been speaking with the national president of NAYA. And now, sir, would you like to talk about the challenges so far since you've been in Nigeria and the challenges facing this association?
Yeah, in any society, particularly when you do something of this nature and of this magnitude that involves a lot of collaboration with people, it involves a lot of coordination, there are a lot of challenges. Apart from logistic challenges that we often face here and there, humanitarian service or community service is still something that I can say is not well entrenched in Nigeria. So sometimes when we bring something to a local community, people are still expecting, that even though you're giving this, do you have any money to give? And so it's quite very challenging that way to believe that people are just so, so attached to the monetary reward of everything. But over the time that we've been doing this, we've seen a significant improvement in the reception of people. And other challenges when we have to deal with the government. It's not been the easiest when you deal with the government. Sometimes the bureaucratic red tapes and, even, except for Bayelsa, for Abia State, that after we donated, we shipped the equipment to the local community. We approach the state government that we would like them to be part of the, ceremony for the handing over, and they oblige. In other states, sometimes they promise they will come, they don't come. It's very discouraging to see that ordinary people in diaspora decided to help one way or the other. You will expect that government will be more receptive to these kind of things, and but the one we did in Abia State was quite a success. The government, Abia State government, was well represented. The commissioner of vet was there, and also they sent a representative from the presidency through the office of the senior special assistant to the president on diaspora and foreign affairs, Honorable Abike Dabiri.
Sir, the Nigerians in diaspora are doing this, and when you critically look at what Nigerian government is doing, how did you feel with the situation of Nigeria?
Well, the situation of Nigeria can be in many folds, but particularly the abject poverty in this land is just enormous. It's too much. And when there's poverty, people tend to think in such a very myopic perspective. Nobody live for tomorrow. Everybody's just striving for survival. And that's one of the major challenges I feel I've seen in this society. We are intelligent people, well educated, but because of lack of job, because of lack of opportunity, they don't seem to tap into their intellectual capacity. Rather, everybody just wants to survive. So even when the opportunity comes, because they've been so subjected to this poverty, they don't even realize it. So, for instance, when we were in Obaile, the traditional ruler there, the king, took us around the town to explore, to see opportunity for foreign investment, to see opportunity for potential, investment in that locality. And those are the kind of things we believe should be more explored so that people in the rural areas can have gainful employment. And that's one way of eradicating poverty. When people are employed, they will think less about crimes or, the instinct of survival alone, and they'll be more willing to contribute back to the community. We are doing this because we live in Canada, and by virtue of that opportunity, we've been able to realize what a good life looks like. And the only thing we can do is to come back to our society and do something and make a difference.
So now, what do you think governments can do to at least reduce the kind of poverty level of Nigeria?
I think government cannot solve this problem alone, but by providing enabling environment for very robust economic activities to strive. Look at small business owners. They are hardly surviving because the banks doesn't give loans. When they give loans, they give it in 2 digits. The small petty traders have no access to those kind of loans. These are areas where government can come in and regulate all these kind of things so that loans that, small business owners can use to survive is more accessible to people. And again, in the area of employment, if there are so many diasporans and other people, foreign investors that are willing to, by virtue of our population, we have the population advantage. Just like China and other places, even though we're not as much as China, but they've capitalized on their population to be able to, produce a very robust, competitive economy. Government in this area, these are the areas we want government to come in, to create an enabling environment where people can have reasonable economic activities with access to loans, with access to, and when there's no security, it affects a whole lot of things. So all these kind of things, comes into play when you are building a society that is going to be for the future and you want it to be prosperous for the people living in it.
With this kind of the problem in Nigeria, do you think if you continue like this, what will be the future of this country? So from your own perspective, sir.
You see, the only thing that I think is lacking in our society today is the lack of opportunity. Most of us that travel abroad, particularly in Canada, the only difference we see in Canada and here is the opportunity to realize your dream. People have passions and you are able to do it. Most of us have been privileged to serve in a very prestigious positions in Canada. For instance, I'm currently serving on the board of directors for the Conservative Party of Canada. I've been on several boards, the African community. These are things that prepares you to understand the need of the society. These are areas where you are able to, in a very close range, to understand the concept of governance, to understand how things are done properly. So, but here in Nigeria, our society is not made to prepare anyone for leadership role, because everything is so monetized and you have people just, it's all about godfatherism or whatever before you get to any position. That's what we don't have in Canada. So if somebody like myself with no mom, no dad, just a young guy that went to Canada, I can be, on the board of directors working directly with the Prime Minister of Canada. That's amazing. And that's the kind of environment that we need here, where people can rely on their intellectual capacity, on their God-given talent to be able to realize their dream.
Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate you and we commend your association for doing wonderfully well in this area. And we have been speaking with the National President for Association of,
Young Adult.
National President of Nigerian Association for Young Adults of Canada, in person of Mr. Shola Agboola. Thank you very much for being with us on this program today. And here is where we'll be dropping the curtain of today's program. My name is Olajumoke Ibrahim. Bye-bye.